Keep an eye on this right here. We're coming back to it. What's going on, guys? I'm Ishaya. This is FireFace Films, and today we're talking about Filmstro Pro, the music service that allows you to customize royalty-free music to fit your film project the way you want it to. And I gotta say, after using it for almost 3 years, I have some thoughts, and we're gonna get to them. Before we do, make sure you drop a like, get subscribed, and click that bell to get notified when we post. Okay, on with the show. So, some background on Filmstro Pro. I first learned of it back in 2018, but I didn't start using it until 2021. And when I did buy it, I'm gonna preface this now, I bought the perpetual license, and that's gonna come back in a little bit. So, what is Filmstro Pro? So essentially, like I said before, it's a music service. You get to customize royalty-free music. And you know, normally when you have all the music services like Artlist, I use Zapsplat for some things, and all the various places you can get stock music from, you're stuck with the track as is. But the killer feature of Filmstro Pro is the fact that you can actually customize the track. So when you're actually using it, there are 3 sliders: intensity, depth, and power. And each of those things, depending on the track, will control parts of the music. So intensity usually is going to be your percussives, depth is usually like your bass tones, and power is usually going to be like the more higher end instruments like guitars, violin, strings, this, that, and the other. And it's really cool. I gotta say, it was a game changer, and we've used it on a lot of projects. Like a lot of our videos, the basic videos here on the channel, we use Filmstro Pro as the music to be the underlying portion for the video, and it's probably the music that you're hearing in the opening, and maybe even right now if I'm letting it go that far. And we've even used it to score 2 of our short films, To the Death and Best Served Cold, both of which you can check out here or somewhere in the description. Make sure you check those out. And the music results, I gotta say, I was really happy with them. The variety of tracks that Filmstro has, it's really nice. Oh, and another note about Filmstro is that yes, it is a subscription-based service like most other music services, but I guess not necessarily, but like other music services, it does have the option to buy perpetual license, although the perpetual purchase doesn't hold the same weight that it used to. And we're going to talk about that later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. Let's talk about what's good about Filmstro, and I'm gonna refer to my my little listicles right here. So I will say this, like I mentioned before, the killer feature is the fact, again, that you can customize the music tracks. This is so handy. Like the fact that any other service would give you tracks that you have to fit the film to, as it should be, you can fit the music to the film. I mean, when you think about any actual film, the composer didn't just make the music and then they say, okay, now let's cut the film to the music. No, the composer made the music to go to the film. And now you can actually make your music go to your project, which is just, it's killer. You can't beat that. And that's a feature that I love, and I'm not sure if anybody else has something like that. If they do, drop in the comments and let me know, because I really would like to know, to explore alternatives and know simply what's out there. Another good pro is that there's a decent sized selection of music to choose from, and a lot of genres. There's a lot of genres to choose from, and a lot of different like vibes and feels to go with. And one thing I really enjoy about Filmstro Pro that a lot of other music services don't have is the option of like really good, actually cinematic sounding music. And when I say cinematic, it's cinematic is a term that gets thrown around, but like music that actually sounds like something that would fit your film project. Like a lot of good orchestral pieces, a lot of good intense pieces that'll have like synths and the very like other instruments, just a lot of good actually movie sounding music, if that's what you're going for, if that's what you like. And if that's not your vibe, you've got a lot. You've got various like dubstep-ish sounding things, you've got rock sounding things, you've got a wide variety of music to choose from. And I can't stress enough how much there is a good selection. Although it's not as wide as a lot of other music services, I will say that. It does sometimes feel like you might push up against the bounds of what's available, but given that each track is infinitely customizable, it kind of opens up the depth of what you can do with these tracks and make it feel like there's more to choose from. Another feature that I really do enjoy is the ability to import video into the app to more precisely line up the music with the video and what you're trying to do. So that way you can set the cues for the intensity to go up here and the depth to come down here and the power to stay consistent across the board at very specific keyframes. And it's really handy. You can draw along the line as you see fit. You can specifically set, they used to have keyframes as a feature where you could set a keyframe here, insta drop here. And yes, it is intuitive to be able to draw it, but the idea of setting keyframes was nice, but it is really easily customizable. The interface it's good. There are some issues with it, but overall it's a pretty nice interface to use. And I will say, it is simple. It is very simple. It's easy to pick up and learn, and as soon as you really start to get the flow of it, you will be able to make music for your projects no sweat, and then your projects will have been elevated for having such like better music choices. Oh, okay, and one really nice thing that I really do enjoy, and I'm not sure about other music services doing this, is that you can actually have your channel be whitelisted. So what that means is, as long as you actually go through the steps and register your channel with Filmstro, you can make sure that you don't get struck for any of the music, because yes, this music is royalty free, but there are people who are actually making these tracks, and I'm not sure the rights, how that works, but essentially, do the whitelisting if you're actually paying for Filmstro, and it's going to be at certain tiers of the subscription cost, so see which tier you're subscribed to that actually like works with whitelisting, and then as soon as you can whitelist, do that so you don't get any copyright issues. Okay, so we're going to talk about what can be better with Filmstro. These are in no particular order, but these are just things that over the course of using, and I feel like this is something that needs to change, otherwise it's going to feel clunky and not as good as it can be. So to start, I'll say that yes, you have your 3 sliders: intensity, depth, and power. And if you go into one of the menus on the side, you're also going to have a track list, and it's going to have basically each track is what instruments are actually in the song, but none of the tracks are actually labeled as to what instrument it is. You have to trial and error, like, oh, which one is this, and you have to sit there and play through and be like, okay, that's the cymbals, okay, that's the drums, okay, that's the violin. Like, it's really annoying to try and figure that out. It'd be nice if everything was labeled, that way you can instantly be like, no, okay, I don't want the triangle in this, turn that off. I don't want cymbals in this, turn that off. Oh, I just want to isolate this. It would make using it a much more streamlined experience. That's ideally what you want. Okay, so this one here, this is just a nitpick with the filmmaking industry in general right now, and it's just the use of AI art all over this website. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Come on, if we can get people to make these customizable music tracks, I'm sure someone can make not AI generated art. But hey, that's just, I guess that's just what it is right now. But it could be better. And then another thing that also could be better is that filtering music could be better, because when you're actually trying to filter down music in the app, web app, you can only use one filter selection at a time, so you can't cross-choose different moods and genres. It's either mood or it's either genre, and it's only one of each. So it can only be one genre, it can only be one mood. You can't even pick more than one mood, you can't pick more than one genre. So there could be a better system for filtering music. And I would say, as earlier mentioned, yes, you can have your channel whitelisted so that you don't get copyright struck when you're using this music, but there could be a clearer presentation on that. Maybe I'm in the weeds on this, but I've been using Filmstro for 3 years now, and I only just discovered that that is an option. And granted, they don't necessarily go out of their way to hide it, but it could be better presented, because you guys haven't seen it yet, but I do have my reel on YouTube, and I have it unlisted at the moment. And as soon as I have a Filmstro track on there, and the instant I post it, copyright. And I'm like, oh, that's weird, because it's royalty free. But then I look a little bit deeper on the Filmstro website, and yes, there is an option for whitelisting, but I haven't seen that in all this time. So I'm like, well, you could more clearly present that, because you get emails from this service all the time, and they could very clearly advertise that. But I mean, that's not like a big deal, but it'd be nice if they say, hey, this is in your face. This is something that you should know. And then for the video importing, yes, they do clearly state it accepts only MP4 video, but what they don't state is that it's only H.264 video, which for me, that was an issue at first, because I mostly only do H.265. So when I tried to import video, I was like, man, what's the issue? So yes, if you ever have issue trying to import MP4 video, check that it's not H.265 and make sure that it's H.264. That's not like the biggest deal, but that's something that should be noted alongside the fact that it only accepts MP4. That's pretty serious, and you know, it might lead to confusion for someone. They'd be like, I did what it said. I exported an MP4 track. No, they want an MP4 H.264 video. So make sure that you have that, and then you're good to go. But if they can advertise that on the website alongside that, that will be much better. Okay, all right, we're gonna talk about the elephant in the room. We're gonna talk about what's really bad about the Filmstro app. And these are some really game-breaking features that nearly taint the goodwill that you get from having these amazing features. So, number one, first and foremost to me, like I said, I started using Filmstro Pro in 2021. Back then, it was a downloadable program that you could actually put on your computer, and you would download the tracks into the program to use and customize. And then at some point, they transitioned to being a web app, which I don't know what the rationale for that was, and I would love to, because I would love to know, because Seb, the founder, he emails all the time, and if he ever sees this, I want to know. I want like a genuine answer why that happened, because the transition from downloadable program to web app, it has really put a damper on the experience of using Filmstro Pro. So let's talk about one of the biggest issues. So earlier, when I said keep an eye on this, I'm gonna just put this up to the camera here. That's been loading the whole time I've been recording. I haven't cut the camera. This has been rolling this has been loading the whole time. The camera is currently at 16 minutes rolling, and this has been loading the whole time. So that's one of the biggest issues that I have with this, is that you can get stuck in infinite loading cycles with no end in sight. Refreshing the page doesn't help. You could refresh the page, try again, stuck in another infinite loading cycle. That is insane. And then this thing is just so buggy. There's so many just bugs that make it feel hard to use. Like I said, the UI is nice. But the actual usability of this thing is frustrating. Like if you're trying to scrub along the timeline for your figuring out what's your timestamp, am I trying to jump to 1 second or 5 seconds, you will accidentally highlight the page a million times over. There has to be something, and you know what? It's a product of being a web app that stops you from clicking and holding and dragging and not highlighting the page. It's really annoying. And then one of the biggest issues is that the save function is useless. It is non-existent. Like, you can save your project and exit the page, and guess what? All your progress, gone. And even worse yet, when you actually do manage to finish something, they're gonna ask, continue editing, yes or no? As soon as you do, whether you click yes or no, what you just made disappears, gone. So that's something that I just can't imagine. And then, moreover, if you refresh the page, your edits, your progress, gone. So it's a lot that is frustrating. And then one more thing, and this is just a simple bug. I don't know, it's hard to replicate, but essentially, sometimes you'll click play on the music, and then all of a sudden, the music will start double playing. Like, it'll play the same track twice, but it'll be slightly offset, so you can hear the music twice. But then there's no way to stop it, because if you refresh the page, your progress is gone. And all you can do is just spam the play button, play pause button back and forth, and hope that it stops.
No. Okay. This website does exactly whatever it wants. Play, pause. Okay. Oh, now it wants to cooperate. See? Everything is still bad. Just bad.
Yes, they do have a roadmap of features, but there's not much in the way on said roadmap of bug fixes. They're just talking about features and not the actual user experience, which has fallen by the wayside in becoming a web app. And I really do feel like this is the detriment of Filmstro. This is the biggest detriment of such an amazing tool. They do say that they're trying to create in-editor plugins, which we'll see how that goes. First, they're starting Premiere, which for me, that means nothing because I'm not a Premiere editor, so I will not be able to test this for quite some time. So we'll see how that goes, and if anybody else who actually uses Filmstro can test that and post their findings here, that'd be helpful. Like, I would love to know how that actually turns out, because they also said that they're going to be doing a Resolve plugin, but you know, Premiere users are the majority of editors, unfortunately, and that took precedence, but they were talking about doing Resolve, so we'll see how that goes. The idea that you can customize the music to fit your project as you see fit is perfect. Like I said before, we used it for 2 short films, To the Death and Best Served Cold. Like I said, check those out so you can really get a feel for what it was like using those music tracks and actually turning them, like actually tweaking them to fit what was going on in the film. That was really helpful, and it was amazing. I cut down on trying the back and forth of trying to figure out, I might have to cut this so this bass drop hits here and this swell hits here. No, I moved the bass drops and the swells to fit what I needed, and it was amazing. But over time, using Filmstro has become frustrating, and I want it to be better. It has so much potential to be great, it has potential to be better, but there are issues in the way of that, stopping it from being the best that it can be. Like I said before about perpetual license purchasing, the fact that when I bought it, and I bought a perpetual license, it was for a downloadable program. And yes, they do honor that purchase for the perpetual license in the web app. So I still have all the same permissions, and actually some better permissions than all the subscription-based features. Although it makes me wary because they no longer offer the original app to download anymore. And if something ever happens to Filmstro, that perpetual license is down the drain. It's gone. I can't access the original program anymore. I can't download new tracks to the original program anymore. So if Filmstro ever goes completely down, that perpetual license is bunked. It's gone. And I guess you run that risk with any service or anything that's not something you can download and have hard saved to your computer. So that's just another reason why I really wish Filmstro had a downloadable program. Ah, man. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I do think that Filmstro can be better. But that's for another day, and that'll come in the future. And that's going to do it for us today. So if you liked what you saw here, make sure you drop a like, and of course get subscribed, and of course click that bell. We're going to be talking about more film stuff soon. I have some fun stuff coming in the pipeline. I have been nerding out extra hard recently. There's so many things that I'm ready to share with you guys. I'm so excited to share with you guys, and can't wait for you guys to see what's going on. There's so many cool things in the pipeline. God, being a filmmaker is so much fun. But yes, that's doing it for us today, and we will see you guys in the next one. And I love you all. Thanks for subbing. And we're getting closer to 1,000 subscribers. I'm dragging out this ending, but we are so close. We're at 7:49 at time of recording. I want us to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. Let's make it happen, guys. Okay, all right, bye.